Welcome to the Monday, November 20th, 2017 business meeting of the Richmond Community Schools Board of School Trustees. I have some special guests tonight that are going to come to the podium and help lead us in the pledge. So if you girls could all come forward. Come up to where the microphone is. There you go. All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Now for our mission statement.
Richmond Community Schools guides students on pathways of learning to a future of limitless possibilities.
Thank you, Brad. And the vision statement?
Richmond Community Schools, a community nurturing mind, body, and spirit to prepare students for lives of choice, purpose, and service.
Thank you, Aaron. And now we're ready for celebrations and reflections.
Okay, our celebrations tonight, we have our Christmas card winners here with us this evening, and those are the young ladies who helped us with our pledge. So we will start in reverse order, starting with fourth place. I'm going to ask Mary Alice Zaleski if you would come to the podium, please. And we should have her entry there. And we have a gift to you from the board.
All right, here's her picture for those of you in the audience and your certificate. So congratulations. Okay, thank you.
Our third place representative tonight is Dewani Bakhta. I'm ask Dewani if she would come forward, please.
Okay, and for you, here's hers. She drew, and here's the certificate from the board. Give those to you.
You had a turn for selfie? So by the time I figured it out.
Oh, I'm gonna write that down. Where was the fourth place? Could you introduce who's with you to Sydney? Okay, and is your school principal here?
Yes.
Okay, and who's that?
Miss Ethering.
Okay, and your art teacher?
Miss Talbot.
Okay, and for you, who's with you?
It's my mom and Rosie. And then my principal's not here.
Okay, is your art teacher here? No? Okay. Now we're ready for the next one, for second
All right,
place.
second place this evening is Avery Vandervoort. Avery?
Okay, this is Avery's picture for the Christmas card, and this is her certificate. All right, so congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. And do you want to introduce who's with you, Avery?
My mom, my little sister, and my dad.
Okay, is your principal here?
My principal and art teacher are Mrs. Littleton and Mrs. Talbot.
Okay, thank you. And now,
The grand prize. First place goes to Crystal Tran. And she will receive 50 Christmas cards as well.
okay, this is her picture. And this is your certificate. And then you also get all these Christmas cards to send to your friends. Okay? Thank you. And, okay, will you introduce who's with you?
My dad, my principal, Mrs. Littleton.
sounds like the Hibbert program did.
Dixie,
Okay,
you have her sign for us?
pardon me?
We are Richmond.
Oh, yes. Can you do that? Okay, if you notice on her Christmas card, for those of you in the audience, she has the hand signs for We Are Richmond. So could you turn around and do that for us?
Oh.
Can you do that?
Yeah, well, I mean,
Yeah.
well, I didn't do it wrong.
I like that.
Okay, Bridget wants a picture?
Definitely different.
Hold up your art pieces and come up here with Mrs. Robinson, all four of you. Yeah, take your names off of it. Yeah, take your sticky note off as well. And then I want to hold and see your art piece. And Mrs. Robinson, will you stand there with the kids? All right, okay. So thank you. I'm right here. Just hold up your pieces.
Okay, hold your pictures up in front.
Ready? Oh, it's all right. Thank you.
Girls, before you go, could you turn around and show the board your pictures as well, just so they can put a face with the picture?
Guys did so good.
Awesome, awesome.
Nice job, ladies.
Good job, ladies.
Burst in the sprinkles.
Okay. All right, and now we're ready for public commentary.
Kim is checking right now.
Erica Pearson, hit it, hit share.
Okay, Erica?
Hi, I'm Erica Pearson. I teach at Charles Elementary, and I just came to say thank you for the new contract. I appreciate that you listened to teacher concerns and that you worked together with the Richmond Education Association and the legislature to get a reset of the salary schedule. I know it's not easy being an administrator in these challenging times or being a school board member, so I appreciate the work you do, and I appreciate the work. We're working together as a team to help the children and families of Richmond. Thank you.
Thank you, Erica.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
That's it.
That's it?
Okay, and for the Christmas card winners, if you don't want to stay around for all the business stuff, you don't have to. And thank you for coming. We appreciate it.
Well, we take the Christmas cards back, but.
Janet will have her bill in, give them December document. Janet will have her bill, but we give them December.
Okay, now we're ready for consent items.
Okay, our consent items this evening for your consideration, we have 4.01, the approval of minutes, 4.02, the human resources, 4.03, perf employer joining resolution, 4.04, accounts payable, 4.05, monthly financial report, and then 4.06, the 2018 summer of e-learning grant.
Okay, and before we take a motion on that, could I have Jennifer explain the perf employer joining resolution so that I'm sure everybody understands?
Thank you. Anytime that we approve a position in a benefit package or we add a position, in order for that position to be, if it's not already, if that title of that position is not already recognized by PERF, then the resolution allows us to add that title to PERF, so we can match it up. You can do that twice a year. We approved the addition of a position and approved the benefit package back in the summer, but we had already missed that window with PERF, so the next window then is January 1. And we've done that in the past with some other positions as well.
Okay. All right, do I hear a motion that we accept the consent items?
I move to approve the consent items as presented.
You hear a second?
Second.
All right, any comments or questions?
How many years have we had the e-learning grant?
Mr.
This will
Tidwell.
be the seventh one, so,
And longest?
and the longest one in Indiana, so we're very proud to get it, so.
Longest run.
That's really great. And did I hear somewhere that there weren't as many this year?
I believe they cut it down from 23 or so to maybe 19 or 17,
Okay.
something like
Very
that. so,
nice.
yeah.
Okay, good job. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other comments or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And now we're ready for action items.
The first action item this evening is 5.01 donations. I'm going to ask Mrs. Scalp if she would speak to this, please.
Good evening. Tonight we have 2 donations to present to the board. One in the amount of $100 from Vintage Wheels for a student wheelchair at one of our buildings. And then the RP&L has donated books for numerous years to the Hibbard Program Building. And this year, that donation totaled $1,000 worth of books. This is the first year we were made aware of that donation, but it's my understanding they've done that every year for quite a long time. So we do thank them for that very generous donation. And tonight I ask for your approval of $1,100 worth of donations.
Okay, do you hear a motion? Okay, Jeff makes the motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Aaron seconds it. Any comments or questions? I just want to say that Vintage Wheels has always been very generous in helping our exceptional needs students, and we appreciate that. And then it's good to know that they've been supporting that those books for longer than just this year.
Yes.
So that's great. All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Our next action item this evening is 5.02, and that is the agreement with Crow Horwath for internal controls. And I'm going to ask Mrs. Scalf if she would speak to this one as well.
Good evening. I have spoken about this in the board update for the last few updates, but tonight I come to you with an agreement between RCS and Crow Horwath for services to help us look at, monitor, improve, and end up with a manual for internal controls. This is a stipulation for State Board of Accounts controls, and they are looking at it in audit, so we are being proactive and trying to get that done as quickly as possible. We are a little bit behind. They wanted manuals in place by June 30 of this year. So far, that did not happen for anyone, so we aren't unlike our peers. However, we do see the need to get this done. The business office staff, this is an overwhelming task that we could not perform and give it the diligence that it needs for the corporation. And tonight, that's why I'm asking for the services that are before you. Just a note that we will be working with Western Wayne and Centerville Abington schools at the same time to help save on some of these services. We got together with those superintendents and worked together to see what Crow would be willing to do, and they did substantially lower the costs for us with the knowledge that the three of us would like to work together. So it will be a partnership of more than just Crow, but we'll be working with our county schools as well. So tonight I bring that agreement to you, and I recommend that you approve it.
Okay, do you hear a motion?
So moved.
Okay, Suzanne makes the motion. Do you hear a second?
Second.
Okay, Aaron seconds it. Any comments or discussion?
I had a question. You said this will lead into an audit.
No. It is, the State Board of Accounts has been tasked with legislation that requires that they put in additional internal controls monitoring for political subdivisions. We, being a political subdivision, have to follow those rules. One of those stipulations that State Board of Accounts has put in place as a monitoring guide and a way to audit is an internal controls manual to be adopted by the board or elective body of each of those subdivisions.
There are different rules for different groups. Schools, of course, have a little bit tighter rule than some of the others, and part of that is just the magnitude of the business that we serve. So it's not as an audit, however, it will work like an audit as we look at our processes, but they are not conducting one. They're just helping us meet the standards that will come in place at our next audit.
We wanted to conduct one. Could they do that?
They could, we would have to pay for that separately.
And we're on the rotation. We expect that the audit will be here.
Yeah, I've actually, because we are looking into debt options, we have to have an audit before we can do anything with the debt. So I have already requested an audit by State Board of Accounts. They contacted me and asked for our very last deadline, which is unfortunate. It wasn't thrilling to hear that, but I would expect them before the end of spring next year.
Any other comments or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, our next two action items are both overnight field trips for the Business Professionals of America state qualifiers and state winners. And so I'm going to ask Dr. Reynolds if he would speak to each one of these separately, but in succession. So.
Thank you, Ms. Terrell. Our first overnight field trip is for the Richmond High School Business Professionals of America competition team to have an overnight field trip staying at the Indianapolis Downtown Marriott for the BPA, Business Professionals of America state competition. They'll compete at regional and district meets to qualify for that, and in the past we've had a lot of great success, some state champions and other placers to go on to nationals. So I ask for your approval for the Business Professionals of America state tournament on March the 11th through March 13th in Indianapolis.
Jeff makes the motion. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Brad makes a second. Any comments or questions?
I just wanted to say, Ms. Witham and Ms. Selm did an excellent job with this. They're consistently tops in the state with our kids, and they're doing a great job.
And I agree wholeheartedly. Okay, any other comments or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Great. The second overnight field trip is for May the 9th through May the 13th, and it would be for the national competition for Business Professionals of America. This will be conducted in Dallas, Texas at Great Wolf Lodge. And again, those students that qualify with the state meet will get the opportunity to compete there. Traditionally, we've had students compete. I don't know if we've had a national champion yet, but we've had national placers, students place nationally. But again, would recommend that they be approved for this field trip. I know in the past they keep a close eye. That's high testing month, of course, but we keep a close eye on that and make sure there's no conflicts with the assessments that are occurring that month as well.
I might add, Dr. Reynolds has requested the opportunity to be a chaperone at the field trip to Great Wolf Lodge, and he's been denied. It's been denied.
And we have had a national champion.
Yes.
Have we?
Yes. So,
Free trade, was it the free trade group? I think it was.
Yeah, I think so.
okay. Do I hear a motion? We approve the field trip.
Motion. Go ahead, I'll be second.
Let the first be last.
One of you. Let's
I
go.
move to accept the field trip request. as
Okay.
presented.
Thank
second.
you, Aaron, and Brad seconds it. All right, any other comments or discussion? I just hope we have lots of winners and a lot of them get to go, because I think that'll be great. All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, now we're ready for board reports and old business.
All right, our board reports and old business this evening. We are going to have a report from the Fannie and Howie Group, and Mr. Nader is here. So I'm going to ask Mr. Nader if you would approach the podium at this time. And then also, as he comes, I'd like for him to introduce his special guest who is with us tonight. And the two of them went on a special tour of the high school led by Dwayne Hodgen. We appreciate Dwayne doing that before. But Dan, if you'd introduce your wife.
I would. This is my wife, Joey, formerly Joey Ellis. As I've said on a couple of other occasions, incredibly proud alumna of Richmond High School, class of '71.
Can you sing the fight song for us?
Spark up.
We'll take it.
She's wearing red, that's good enough.
We appreciate you being here this evening.
It's really neat for me to watch all of this go on, because I know compared to my high school, the alumni group at Richmond is so much stronger than, and it's a living, vibrant being that is really cool to see. I guess, so that's that. First off, happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Thank you.
Hope you have a safe and enjoyable time with friends and family. We're here tonight to report on a number of community input sessions that we had. This is in the still in the background stage of information that we're collecting for the board to give you as much data as possible so that when we do start discussing options, you'll have information about, like, for example, capacity and demographics, and now you'll have a viewpoint into what some of the community members believe about education in general and some of the operations at Richmond Community Schools. So with that, as you do, we start all of our presentations with the vision mission statement. So we did that at each session. This was the agenda that I'm not going to recreate the entire presentation for you because some of you were there and saw it. But this is what we presented at each group so that they would have some background information before we start asking them questions. So we talked about what the purpose of a facility master plan is and what the board's trying to accomplish. We offered a schedule for future input opportunities for the community, which would be next January. We highlighted the student enrollment projections, the excerpt from the demographic report. We highlighted the building evaluations. We highlighted the capacity analysis study that we did. And we put in highlights of the educational visioning process that took place. And with all of that background, then we started asking questions, particularly related to what information the board might need looking forward. So we had five different sessions. The first one was at Richmond High School, and we had 29 participants. Then we were at Charles, where we had 69 participants. Then we did a late morning session at Morrison Reeves, had 45. Then we had a very interesting session at the high school with select intermediate and high school students. There were 81 invited for that. And then at Fairview, we wrapped up with 33. So we had a total of over 250 participants and folks actually taking this survey. So here are the results. What we've done is taken, because of the software that we were using, we can take all of the individual sessions and combine them and give you a snapshot overview of all of the answers combined. So that's what you'll see as we go through these. That's the top piece on the blue will show what the combined sessions for all participants. Then, as you'll note in one of the questions, what we ask, are you or any of your family members an employee of the district? So there are some folks that are yes, and obviously some folks that are no. I thought maybe the board would be interested in also seeing a filtered result of just the people who are not employees. So the red results at the bottom are all of the sessions combined from non-employee participants. So you're getting the big picture overview and one slice of a filtered result. And by the way, I'd like to thank Josh, who saved our bacon on a couple of occasions from the technology side, because a lot of this stuff was technology sensitive, and he came through a couple of times for us. So the first question was, do you have children or grandchildren attending Richmond Community Schools? And it was about, well, it was 43% yes and 56% no, or almost 57% no for the total participant count. And then when you dealt with just non-employees, it was just a little bit higher on the no side. So it was pretty close demographic match between the employee and total for those who have kids in school. Then we asked, if you have or have had children attend Richmond Community Schools, how do you feel about the quality of education they're receiving or received? And we offered four responses. One, that they were absolutely thrilled, and that was 12%. My child is receiving a quality education. That was almost 38%. I have mixed feelings is 42%, and 7% said that they were not happy. And the results on the non-employee filter were almost identical up and down the line. So that's kind of an interesting response on both cases. So this was the question: Are you or a member of your household an employee at Richmond? And 53% yes, 46% no, and then obviously on the filtered response, it's 100% no.
Why don't the numbers match?
What's that?
There was 113 no's on the top chart and only 88 on the bottom. If you go back to the previous slide.
Oh, it all depends on how many people that we had, the total participants, and they had a little input device that was completely anonymous, and not everyone votes every time. Mm-hmm. So all this counts are the number of people who actually voted.
But I would think that the filter would drop that. It doesn't matter. Thank you.
Oh, you mean why does that bar chart?
Well, if you go to the previous slide.
I got to go back this way. That one.
So why isn't that 113 in place of 91?
Apparently, a number of people. That's a good question. I don't have a good answer to that one, because those should have matched up.
Unless, like you said, people didn't vote.
I'll find out.
I saw that.
Yeah, I'll find out the answer to that, and I'll report back. So we asked, just to get a perspective on, do people have a view of, have they been in the buildings, basically? So we asked about if they have visited or toured the high school, and it's a very high number on both counts. And then we asked if they have toured any of the intermediate schools, and again, a very high number compared to what I would normally see. And then we asked, same question for the elementary schools, and again, very, very high participation of folks that have been in the schools. So this wasn't their first time in general. So we asked, what source do you rely on most often for information about Richmond Community Schools? And it was the newspaper, the school newsletters, the school website, social media, or other. And in the overall, it was the school website and social media were the two predominant choices. And then when you get to the non-employee, the palladium item rises up as well as other. So we had shown the enrollment projections, and this was just to try to get an opinion. It was from your observations, do you find the enrollment growth projections for Richmond Community Schools to be too high, too low, or just about right? And over in the 60% range was just about right, but there's a third of the folks believe that they're too low from what we were showing. So that's an opinion, just so you have that.
Does that mean that we will lose more students, or we won't?
That
lose
means
as many?
that they believe that the projections that we were showing were too low. They thought they were being more optimistic than our projections were. So how important is the quality of education provided by Richmond Community Schools to the overall quality of life in Richmond? And frankly, this is where you normally get some of your complaints. And we got, very good, obviously very important, somewhat important, and not important. And by far, the vast majority in both sectors view the quality of education as very important. Now, how important are the conditions of school buildings to the quality of education being delivered? Again, very important, somewhat important, or not important. And 2/3 believe very important, and basically a third believe somewhat important. And 2% believe not important. This one was a little bit surprising in that sometimes, this is the teacher under the apple tree theory, that there are some people that they actually believe it's really not that important, that a good teacher can teach anywhere. So the fact that we got such a high response under the very important and somewhat important just shows the attitudes of the community. In your opinion, what is the best grade configuration for an elementary school? Pre-K 4, Pre-K 5, Pre-K 6 are no opinion. And again, the overall, your current Pre-K 5 structure, the Pre-K 5 structure is the preferred elementary school structure, and then Pre-K 4 and Pre-K 6, come in and you can see the results there. In your opinion, what is the best grade configuration for an intermediate middle school? And in this case, we offered a 5, 6, 7, 8, or a 5, 8, or a 6, 8, or a 5, 7. We had plenty of other, and we explained that there are a multitude of other options, but these are the ones that we selected. And there was the highest percentage, 47%, were the 5, 6, 7, 8 structure, and then following that was 6 through 8, and then on the non-employee side, it was pretty even between 5, 6, 7, 8, and a 6, 8.
Now, how does that coincide with the first two meetings? And I'm not sure if it was offered in the lunch meeting, but the first two meetings, the 5, 6, 7, 8 option were not in there.
Yeah, I just went ahead and combined them, and that's
showing higher with missing out on the first two meetings?
Yeah.
Wow.
Rather than try to do 3 different slides for different results, I just combined all the answers. So how important are safety and security features in considering school design options? The number one issue, a primary concern, important but no need to go overboard, or we really don't need to worry about this issue. And in both filters, it's a primary concern, followed by the number one issue and important. Obviously, everybody's overall, they're concerned about security. The level of concern varies by person, but essentially 97% think it's important in one sense or another. In your opinion, how important is access to current and robust technology for students and teachers? And the first option was absolutely required at the highest possible level. Next was important but not crucial. Next was needs to be available but in limited settings. And last was, frankly, there's too much technology in school as it is. So you get pretty much a curve from absolutely required to important but not crucial, all the way down to, frankly, there's too much technology in school as it is. And, you know, you do get somewhere between an 8 and 12% response back on that, there's too much technology. And that's frankly not unusual, because there is that opinion out there. When renovating schools, fixing the roof, heating, and air conditioning is a sufficient approach. True or false? And this is always an interesting, because this was always an interesting question, because there are, again, some folks that feel pretty strongly that as long as it's warm, safe, and dry, that's all you really need. And we've got basically a third hold that opinion, and 2/3 believe there's something more. The next question was, current educational design thought is to create a variety of flexible learning spaces. I think this should be the primary focus of any renovation. I think fix the roof, heating, and air conditioning first. I think it's not very important. So we get that third again of fixing the heating and air conditioning as it relates to another option with flexible learning spaces. But so that holds pretty consistent, that opinion, through 2 questions. What is the most, we asked 3 questions, all the same. And the first one was, what's the most important feature? Then we asked the second most and the third most. So they had 3 shots at this. And the options were a safe on-site arrangement and separation of vehicle and pedestrian circulation, so a safety piece, secure main entrance, comfortable environment including temperature, lighting, acoustics, a variety of flexible learning spaces, and robust access to technology. And the top piece here was a comfortable environment, including temperature, lighting, and acoustics. And it's in that same 35% range that we had in the other questions, so it's holding true. Then when you get to the non-employees, it's a little more balanced out percentage-wise. Then when you ask what is the second most, the comfortable environment still holds the top spot, with flexible learning and secure main entrance as the number 2 and 3 answer. And then by the time you get to your third most, they sort of all flatten out equally. So then we asked, the number 1 goal of educating students for the future, will require a return to the fundamentals of reading, writing, and arithmetic. And I think at the high school, we had to explain what arithmetic was. Yes, it was math. Focus on learning a trade or develop overall critical thinking skills. And in both cases, the development of overall critical thinking skills was almost 70%. From a building perspective, educating our students today and into the future will require a variety of flexible learning spaces to accommodate the changing delivery of educational curriculum. About the same type and number of lecture classrooms grouped by subject, it doesn't matter. And pretty strong support for a different approach than lecture classrooms in both cases, overall and non-employee. And then we asked of the folks who were there, would they continue to visit the school website to stay informed? And we got about 80% said yes and 20% said no. So we will count on those 80% as we go forward. So those were the questions, and we have all the individual results if you want to really get into the nitty-gritty of the detail, but these are the composites. So I take any questions or comments.
I have emailed you all of this slide presentation, and then tomorrow I will send you the individual session results as well, so you can have those for your perusal. And then we will also be posting those on the website as well, so everybody can see the results.
How much discussion was there with the entire groups in each of these settings prior to taking the test? I mean, did they have, I was at a couple of them, but one I was at the beginning, another one I was at the end. Was there ample opportunity for discussion from those who participated to express their opinions?
Afterwards?
Yes.
Yes, yeah. We stayed as long as anyone would stay and talk. And there was, I think, Jennifer took the notes, or, oh,
Kim did.
Sorry. There you are. And those are available, all of those comments that were
those will be
that were
included
generated.
tomorrow morning as well.
Okay. Nothing super earth-shattering. Just a lot of support. There was some concern about people want to make sure that they don't lose some of the programs that they have, like Logos, for example, was one that I remember right now.
And they even said it's not so much where it's located,
Right.
but they want the program to continue was the common thread.
There were a lot of references to the flexible learning space. I don't recall that ever really being defined, and I think everyone visualizes that differently. I don't know how you make a lot of sense of, if I say flexible learning space, what's that actually mean? I mean, what's your interpretation of
Oh, it's, I think for the students, we were able to reference the two model classrooms that are in place right now with flexible, movable furniture. It's so that it's spaces that are just that, flexible to accommodate different learning setups, different learning styles. Teachers can change the way the room works. That was the intent.
I think you also described that at the library, at that midday session we had as well, which was a lot of the non-school people. And so that question was raised, and
What was it you just sent us?
this PowerPoint.
No, you sent us the interim.
Oh, did I?
Yep, the one from October 25th. I think we definitely all need a copy of this, and if you have all the breakdown from individual meetings.
That's what
That's
he
what
just
I
said he
just
was
said.
gonna send,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, just double checking. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
Okay, we're ready for our second public commentary. And seeing no one in the audience except you two. Okay. All right. Preview of upcoming meetings, the upcoming meeting and events.
Yeah, real quickly, before the review, just want to, Brad had sent an email asking for an update on the policies. So all of those are live now off of the website, as we discussed with some of you beforehand, but just want to make sure that you're aware of that. You go to it just like you did in the past as far as looking for those policies. If you have any questions or concerns with getting there, if you can let Kim know, she will be more than happy to get you. But we're happy to say they're all up, they're good to go, and we already have some others that we need to do some cleanup on, so.
And my issue with that was when I looked on them earlier, you go to like the very first one, the bylaws, and I talked to Kim about this. Down the bottom it says adopted 2/28/07, and
Okay.
did not have revised or reviewed or anything. So that's what was throwing me.
Okay,
So
okay.
that's the reason I was questioning. Sorry.
We'll make sure we get
Well,
the.
no, not all of them have been revised.
No.
That's right.
No.
No.
Oh,
Yeah,
So
that's
it's
what I'm
right.
saying.
It's-
I was under the assumption they would have all said like reviewed or something, but I was, you know what happens when you assume, so.
so the ones that she said were good to go, that
You
were
really
left,
wanna throw that out there.
they'll still be there as they were.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Until our committees take a section and review the whole section. And the only one that's happened to is section 3 and 4 that we worked on because we went through all of them.
All right.
So,
Okay. Any other questions?
would you like for them to have on there, to Brad's point, reviewed? So that way, at least we know that they've been visited, they weren't just ignored, but during this process that they are actually reviewed?
That means everything would be because.
Well,
No? Okay.
yeah, to Dixie's point, I mean, to reviews, like what we did was went one by one through every single one.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And now that we have them all cleaned up and fixed, then this next year, then each of our groups will start taking their sections. I mean, we won't review every section in 1 year, but on a 3-year rotation, we will get all of them reviewed.
Good.
Okay.
thanks for the clarification.
Press conference, any questions? None? Before I turn it over to the adjournment and bell ringer, I would like to say on behalf of the board, we would like to wish all of our students and staff, as well as our community partners and our parents, a very happy Thanksgiving and safe trips if you're going somewhere. So, do want to say that. And now we'll turn it over for the bell ringer.
So we have 2 bell ringers tonight. Josh, if you could go ahead and throw those pictures up on the screens. We had our chamber event, and I know Suzanne and John were able to attend that at the high school. I was at a chamber board meeting today, and they went on and on and on again about the event itself. It was the best attended chamber event that they've had in recent history, if anybody could remember. These are just some of the pictures. So Bridget and Kim did a real nice job of setting up our photo booth, and Bridget recruited every person as they walked through the door. You'll notice there's going to be some key individuals in our community here, all decked out in their Richmond attire, and there's one of our candidates for sheriff, and
Yeah, that looks good.
There's a lot of people named Paige.
we've been asked to make this an annual event, and I believe we're going to do that. So it is also recommended that we have the same kind of event for all of the realtors in our community, and so we're working on establishing a date for that as well. We'll throw back. I went over the morning after this event, and on the morning announcements at the high school, just let them know of all the great compliments that they had received, both for the students and the teachers. They were in the hallways, like we said, for 2 or 3 different passing periods, which was intentional. Lunch was right across the hallway from the cafeteria, so they could see our kids in the halls. Comments we heard repeatedly were, we are amazed at everything that is being offered. We were astounded at the behavior of the kids and how they interacted with each other and with us. It was overall just a great day, and we appreciate so much both the staff and the students. Maggie prepared our lunch for us, and all of them had school lunch for the day, and it was a great event. So kudos to all involved there. The second bell ringer this evening, if you guys will remember, back in September, Mike Shenison was recognized as an outstanding leader for the ICE, the Indiana Connected Educators Conference. Just recently, as you may have read in the paper or seen on all of our social media, Rob Tidrow was recognized as the 2017 Indiana Technology Coordinator of the Year by the Hoosier Educational Computer Coordinators. HEC is the organization there. So we want to congratulate Rob and thank him. But this is truly a tribute to all the great things that all of you are supporting and that are taking place here in Richmond Community Schools. Rob, anything you'd like to say about that illustrious award that you received?
I'm just honored to get it, surprised to get it, but I appreciate the support that the board has given me and the technology department and the organization here. You guys support us when we may be out there on the limb sometimes, but you're always there and helping us out, so I appreciate it for those students, so thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Rob.
Okay,
Happy Thanksgiving.
to everybody. Meeting adjourned.
I'm gonna
Do
send
it.
a card.
Yeah, I wanted you to say something.